let's talk about the world's first successful steam engine and the links it has to the Black Country. Now, on July the 14th, 1712, this was when the world's first successful steam engine was invented. It was named the Newcomen Engine after Thomas Newcomen. Thomas Newcomen invented this engine, and the Newcomen engine at that time powered Britain and transformed the nation. There were many previous attempts by different people to invent the steam engine, but it was actually Thomas Newcomen that was successful in this. He invented the world's first practical and successful steam engine with the power of steam. The Newcomen engine was also known as the atmospheric engine, and its main use was to pump water from out of the coal mines. When Thomas Newcomen did invent the steam engine, it was installed at Conagry Coal Works in Tipton. Now, a little bit about Thomas Newcomen. Who was Thomas Newcomen? What was he about? Thomas Newcomen was not originally from the Black Country. He was born in 1664 in Dartmouth, and he died in 1729 in London. He was an English inventor and ironmonger, and he is famously known, especially in the Black Country, for inventing the world's first steam engine. Now, Thomas Newcomen took 10 years trying to perfect his idea, trying to get this steam engine to be successful, to be functional for what he wanted it for. It took him 10 years with a steam pump, trying to invent the steam engine. He did work alongside his assistant, John Corley, and he was a plumber, and they worked together on the project. The reason Newcomen wanted to invent the steam engine was because of the high costs and the expenses of using horses to pump the water out of the Cornish tin mines at the time. He wanted to find a solution around this problem. When Newcomen invented the steam engine, he wanted to patent his idea. However, he couldn't because a British engineer and inventor called Thomas Savery, he had actually obtained a broad patent for his pump in 1698. At this point, Newcomen approached Savery and they entered into a partnership together. So Thomas Savery had actually built the first steam engine, but there were problems and limitations with this design. This was the reason it was stopping it from progressing, and Newcomen had that solution. Prior to meeting Savery and being aware of his broad patent and what he was working on, Newcomen independently created his designs and he worked on his atmospheric pressure piston engine. When the partnership started, Newcomen and Savery brought together their ideas and they went on to develop this magnificent machine. Newcomen created a vacuum within the cylinder and used it to pull down a piston, then used a lever to transfer the force to the pump shaft that went down the mine, and Savery's pump was used to pull the water. This was the first practical engine to use a piston in a cylinder. For years, Newcomen's engine was used to drain water from the mines, and it raised water to power water wheels. Newcomen's first successful engine was installed at a coal mine in 1712, and it played a huge role in powering Britain during the industrial age. It also saved lives in the coal mines because they were able to pump water out more effectively where the miners were, down in the mines. The cylinder itself was 12 inches in diameter and it was nearly 8 feet long, and it worked at 12 strokes per minute. It could also raise 10 gallons of water from a depth of 156 feet. Now, the Newcomen engines were very expensive, but they were very successful. When Thomas Newcomen sadly died in 1729, at least 100 of his engines were in Britain and across Europe at this point. Now, I'm going to talk about a popular misconception because there are people who still believe that James Watt invented the first steam engine. However, this is a popular misconception that I am going to just touch on briefly. He was involved in the Newcomen engine, but not until a little bit later on. So in 1764, James Watt actually improved the engine, and he did improve fuel efficiency with the engine. Now, who was James Watt? Now, let me just tell you about him. He was born in 1736 and he died in 1819. He was a Scottish instrument maker and he was also a Scottish inventor. Now, when he came across the Newcomen engine, James Watt discovered that the Newcomen engine was losing a lot of steam, not making it as effective as it could potentially be. So in 1764, he got to work to try to improve the Newcomen engine. He was able and successful at improving the engine, and how he did this was by creating a separate condenser. He was successful, and the Newcomen engine was improved. He didn't invent it because that was Thomas Newcomen, but he actually modified it and improved it later on. But it is a popular misconception that James Watt created the steam engine, and it's not true. The only full-size working replica of the Newcomen engine can be found at the Black Country Living Museum. So if you've not been to the Black Country Living Museum, it is worth a trip. I'm not getting paid to mention them. I'm not sponsored by them. However, as somebody who comes from the Black Country, it is definitely worth a visit. So if you've never been to the Black Country Living Museum, check out where it is, book some tickets and go to one of the events, because it's a fantastic day out. It's a good day out for the kids. It's a good day out if you want to go on a date there. It's just a very good day out. Plus, you get to see the life-size replica of the Newcomen engine.